Alright guys, today I wanted to talk about the MetaQuest showcase that we just saw today with all the new announcements for the games, and of course today they also announced the Quest 3, which I've done a separate video on talking about like you're seeing here. But I wanted to start off to talk about the actual showcase itself before we get into the games that they showed there. That actually thought it was a really good showcase. I think it showed what was coming in the next 12 months. Obviously a lot of us are disappointed that they still didn't show GTA, but I have a feeling that they're going to show that off when the Quest 3 actually gets shown off and is more prevalent and actually is coming out. But there was a lot of good stuff here that we're going to be showing off here in the video. A lot of good games coming, a lot of surprises that I didn't even think were coming to VR that we're going to talk about as the games show off here. But I think overall it was a really good showcase. And a lot of the games here I am really excited about. Wasn't the best showcase in the whole entire world, but I think it was a really solid showcase, and there was something in here for everybody, I think. And it should make most people excited that are in VR to, get in here and get excited about VR to see what's coming within the next 12 months. And I'm sure that they're holding some stuff back too for when the Quest 3 gets fully announced in September. I'm sure there's a couple of games that they have up their sleeves, or at least one, to kind of showcase the power of that thing. So we'll see if that happens or not, but that wouldn't surprise me at all. But let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
The first game we're going to be talking about that was shown off was No More Rainbows. This is a game that was on App Labs before and is now fully on the store and is now available right now for everyone to download and is now prevalent on the store. Really, really popular game that is now fully available and released. Basically, they're saying that this is a classic platformer that you're going to be playing in VR, where you're using intuitive locomotion mechanics to run, jump, climb, and only use your hands, and you're basically a giant beast and you rampage through these colorful worlds to reclaim the underworld. And it's really cool because it also has an experience where there's a 3v3 multiplayer game mode to become the most respected beast, where there's 12 different mini games or 12 different battle arenas that you can play with other players as well, on top of the single player campaign that offers 4 unique worlds, 28 levels, full of mini games and secrets to uncover and stuff like that. It looks really cool and something I have not played before. I didn't know that this game was on App Lab, so I completely missed it. But the trailer here definitely has me excited. I'm looking forward to trying this one out. The next one we're going to be talking about here is We Are One. Now, this is another one that is available now as well. And this is supposed to be a VR puzzle shooter where you're basically doing mind-bending challenges where it meets action FPS gameplay. Basically, what it's touting it to be, and I'm going to try this as soon as we get off this video, and I get to play this for myself. But basically, you are basically fighting Mother Nature, and you're fighting back against destructive robots. And it's really interesting because of the comic book art style that you guys are seeing and the vibrant watercolor palette that it's using as well. And you're basically fighting clone versions of yourself that you're basically doing, shooting and doing this FPS gameplay where you're controlling all of these different versions of yourself and shooting and then going to different locations to solve these puzzles and mix with FPS gameplay. It sounds really interesting. It looks really cool. I can't wait to dive into this one later and check it out. This is called We Are One. The next game on this list we're going to be talking about is Death Game Hotel. Now, when I first saw this trailer, I had no idea what I was watching, to be honest. It took me a while to realize and then read up what this game actually was. But Death Game Hotel is basically an online death game battle where players are putting their own body parts at stake in order to win a championship. They're touting that there's going to be 2 different game modes at launch. There's going to be a totally unique game called Goblet of the Reaper and a Death Poker, which is a version of poker that includes some really weird rules. And you're using these death games. There's going to be cheats in the game that you're going to be playing, and you're basically playing this around the table. You can play either single player or with people around the world. It sounds really intriguing. I have no idea what this game is going to be like. But it definitely sounds like an interesting premise where you're basically, instead of like other games where you're betting just poker chips and stuff, here you're actually going to be betting your body parts, which is actually going to do an in-game effect and stuff like that, and playing these weird games, and the graphic art style looks really interesting. So really, really weird game, but I'm definitely interested to try this one out, and it definitely has that weirdness factor that I'm looking forward to trying and seeing what it's like. So Death Game Hotel. The next game here to talk about is called Demeo Battles. So we kind of knew about this one already, that Demeo is working on their, Demeo is a really great tabletop RPG game that a lot of us have known and loved. And this is their next game in that kind of, world and realm, where this is going to be a multiplayer focused game. It's going to be for up to 1 to 4 players. You can either play 1v1 or 2v2. And it's going to be a turn-based tactics game where you're battling your opponents in dungeons, Forest and more as you square off against your opponents, and grid-based action combat. You're going to be controlling minions. You're going to be using teamwork. Classic classes that you remember from the Demio game are going to be in here. It's going to be really, really interesting. You're going to be able to challenge and battle these with matches usually lasting only about 20 minutes. Usually, you guys know if you play Demio, it takes like a couple of hours to beat through a campaign. So this one's going to be really fast-paced, and I'm looking forward to it. It's coming out later this year. As somebody who loves Demio in general, this is going to be a nice change of pace. To still be in that world and using the same characters and minions and stuff like that, but playing it in a whole new world. And this is going to be, a completely different game. It's a separate release. So looking forward to it. Demio Battles. The next one on this list is I Expect You to Die 3, Cog in the Machine. So this is obviously, the third game in the series, and I love the first two. It's a puzzle, game where you're basically trying to escape. It's kind of a take on escape rooms that kind of gear it towards that direction. And this is the third one in the genre, and I'm really excited to see what they cook up next and how expansive these worlds are going to be. They're saying you're going to outwit your most cunning adversary to date. In the latest installment of the popular spy-themed puzzle series, wield new gadgets, visit action-packed locales, and wear custom disguises as you dive back into the world of espionage in this escape room game. Really, really exciting to see what they do next with these puzzles and what they do next with these environments. The second one really took it up a notch when it came to the first one, so I'm excited to see, them taking it up a notch again in this sequel here when it comes out later this year. I Expect You to Die 3. And the next game on this list to talk about is Silent Slayer: Vault of the Vampire. We don't know too much about this game, but it is a horror game, so it has my attention already. And it says, vanquish an ancient council in the suspenseful single-player jump scare game. You are a vampire slayer on a mythical quest to destroy these powerful sleeping monsters, an endeavor taken only by the bravest souls. You're going to be a vampire. You're going to be using, your skills to dismantle them, using a book, a mythical book, it says, and it's going to be fantastic. It's a horror game, so I'm already in, and I'm really excited to see, what this game is, especially being from Shell Games. They definitely have my attention. The next one on this list that we're going to be talking about is Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord. Now, obviously, I'm really excited. This is Ghostbusters we're talking about, and ever since it's been announced, I've been excited. This is going to be a game that you can play with your friends, up to 4 players, where you're going and you're using your proton pack and everything to go ahead and grab these ghosts like you would and kind of live out your Ghostbusters dream. Really, really excited about it. It's going to have the iconic music, the iconic sound, as we've already seen, where you go ahead and try to take down the Ghost Lord. Really, really excited. As a huge Ghostbusters fan, who couldn't be excited about, running around as a Ghostbuster and taking down these ghosts and, seeing it. And I really dig the art style. I know some people have been controversial on if they like this art style or not, but I'm actually, really excited about the art style and, what this game is going to bring, to cooperative games like this, because there's obviously always room for more cooperative games. We get a lot of PvP games, but not a lot of cooperative games, and to have it tagged to a franchise that we all know and love that fits this theme perfectly and be able to use these weapons that we all know, like the Proton Pack and all the other things that we use in the Ghostbusters adventure, and to hear the iconic sounds, definitely really excited about it. So that's Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord. The next one here that we're going to be talking about is Underdogs. This is from the developers who brought us Racket NX. And this one looks fantastic, basically. And there's not a lot of games like this in VR where you're basically going to be a gigantic mech and you're going to be fighting, all of these different monsters and mechs in the dark, unseen underground. It sounds really, really cool. You bash, crush, maul, and rip apart your enemy bots and mechs in a full-on metal violence in the first of its kind physics-based mech brawler. But ramping through the pits ain't all. This is a roguelike, so it's going to be a roguelike game gearing up with over 100 items, including power tools like chainsaws and wrecking balls, hiring hackers and hustle and dealing with gangsters and all this kind of stuff. Really, really excited about this one. Again, there's not a lot of mech games in VR, and this one looks like a ton of fun and a lot of customization with it being a roguelike and stuff like that. And the art style and the graphics look fantastic in my opinion. So I can't wait to see more about this game when it comes out later this year. That is Underdogs. The next game we're going to be talking about here is Powerwash Simulator. I know a lot of people are excited about this one finally being announced for VR, and the game kind of does self-explanatory, this game, where you're basically going to be somebody who's power washing cars and power washing houses and stuff like that. It's going to be a soothing and relaxing experience. Basically, a lot of people, this game has taken the world by storm in the 2D space, because this game already exists in 2D, and obviously it's a perfect game for VR. And it's going to be a blast going through this and, escaping and doing this through all the town, cleaning up everything. It's just going to be a chill experience, and I'm excited for it. The next one to talk about here that I was really, really excited about is Sampa de Amigo. I love Samba de Amigo. I own it on the Dreamcast. I own the maracas. It's a ton of fun, and it's a perfect fit for a VR rhythm game. It has over 40 hit songs that we're going to be able to play as, and it's going to bring that, you know, that gameplay from Samba de Amigo. I love the art style. I love the, you know, the 3D crazy environments that this game offers. I love the maraca style gameplay. This is a perfect title for Sega to bring into VR. As soon as I saw it, I was like, this is super exciting because, again, I love the, you know, the game itself. I've already played it on the Dreamcast a lot, and it's a perfect game to bring out there, and it's going to be available later this year, and I'm excited about it, and it's available for pre-order now, and it comes out later, but super excited about it. Samba de Amigo. The next one on this list to talk about is Vampire the Masquerade Justice. So this is from Fast Travel Games. So I'm always excited when they have a new game to release, since I love most of their games. And in this one, you are a vampire. You strike from the shadows and drink the blood of both immortal and vampire prey in a gritty main narrative that includes several side missions and dialogue options to explore a dark and mysterious Venice to improve your abilities and become one of the most powerful vampires. It is a single-player adventure RPG set in the world of darkness. Really exciting. The gameplay and the graphics here look fantastic in my opinion. You know, being a vampire, you know, grabbing blood and kind of killing other foes and stuff like that, going through a narrative, you know, adventure like this in a vampire type world set in the world of darkness. Really excited about it, and especially because it's being done by Fast Travel Games. Looking forward to when this game releases. Vampire the Masquerade Justice. The next one here to talk about is Racket Club, and this is coming from Resolution Games. And again, I love these guys' games as well. They've made Blast On, which is fantastic, and a cooking game that I also played as well. And this is one of their next games that they're making, so they always have my attention when they release a new game. Racket Club takes all the fun of tennis or pickball and puts it in a box to create a brand new racket sport built from the ground up for VR. Keep your eye on the ball as it bounces off every wall and time your swings just right. The longer you keep the ball in play, the more points you could win or give up for that rally. Play in singles or doubles multiplayer, or go for single player glory in career mode. So really excited about this one. A new kind of sport in VR, built for the ground up, and it looks like a ton of fun as a combination of tennis and pickleball. I love tennis in VR, so this is, you know, a different take on it, and I'm excited to see what Resolution Games does with this one and how it works. So excited for this one to release later this year. Racket Club. The next one here that we're going to be talking about is Dungeons of Eternity. Now, this one's exciting because this is another one that could be played cooperatively or solo. You can play with up to 3 friends, and it is an endless fantasy action and adventure where you're basically, you know, going through these random generated dungeons, and you're going to be exploring multiple game modes and realms, and you're going to be doing, you know, hack and slash combat, where you're going through your friends and just slashing all the enemies and going through these, you know, procedurally generated dungeons with your friends and stuff like that. Every weapon is randomly generated as well, offering a nearly endless variety of loot to find within the dungeons, and you'll discover many weapon types, including swords, bows, magic staffs, and more. And there's a variety of crafting, you know, playing your way with different loadouts, upgrades, and a diverse set of character customization options. So this one definitely has my attention, especially it being another cooperative game with your friends. Dungeons of Eternity. The next one that we got as a new form of a, you know, teaser trailer is Arizona Sunshine 2 from Vertigo Games, one that we're all really excited about, considering how well received the original one was. This one is being touted as being bigger and better in every single way. Next generation sequel for people who love the VR apocalypse game that packs even more zombie action. I mean, look at these graphics and look at this. I can't wait to see what this game looks like, and when it comes out, you know, later this year. It's a sequel that all of us are looking forward to. Arizona Sunshine 2. The next one that we're going to be talking about here that has a lot of people really excited is The Seventh Guest. Now, this is a classic game that kind of ushered in the whole era of the CD-ROM back in the day. Honestly, I never played this game back on the CD-ROM days, back, you know, when this game first released. But looking at this trailer and looking at what it is, I'm super excited about it either way. This is a classic game that chilled your bone in the 90s that has been brought back to life for the first time in 3D and in VR that delivers an atmospheric story like no others. Sixth Guest has been welcomed to the Forbidden Mansion, but something sinister is at play, and the whole mansion has been recreated in 3D for the first time. I love the atmospheric, you know, style that they're going for here and how everything looks in here. Even as somebody who didn't play the original, you know, the source material that this is coming from, this looks right up my alley. Again, love horror games and love story adventure games like this. And I can't wait for this one, and I know some people out there are super excited to see this game recreated for VR. So, The Seventh Guest. The next one on this list has me really excited as a huge fan of the source material, and that is Stranger Things VR. I love the TV show on Netflix. It's one of the first TV shows I watch on Netflix that I got super excited about, and I can't wait for the new season. And the fact that they're making a, VR game based on this, but it's actually coming from the perspective of you playing as Vecna, which is a fascinating take on all this. And you're actually going to play him, and you're going to actually be taking on 11 yourself, going through these different realms and stuff like that, reliving the memories from Henry's timeline at the Hawkins lab. And I can't wait to see how how this game plays. But again, I love the art style of this game. I love the source material. I love Stranger Things in general. The fact that we're getting a full Stranger Things game developed by Tender Claws, which usually does really good VR games and is based on a hit Netflix series. Super excited to see a full-fledged Stranger Things game in VR, and I can't wait for it to come out. The next thing that I wanted to talk about that was kind of shown off in the showcase, but there wasn't a trailer for or anything, is NFL Pro Era. I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but there was the first NFL officially licensed game in VR, and it was a ton of fun. I have a ton of fun with this game. I thought the graphics were really nice, especially on the PlayStation VR 2 when I replayed it there. And they came on and said that they are going to be expanding this game again, and it's not going to just be a roster update, which is hilarious that they said that, since Madden, a lot of people make that joke all the time that it's just a roster update. But they expect an expanded focus on multiplayer, where you can actually play a full game against your friends being QB. There's going to be new modes introduced, new features, and more. They said this to tune in while the game releases next year. It's not clear if it's a completely brand new game or a sequel, or if it's expanding this current game. I didn't really get the idea one way or the other by watching it, but either way, whatever way direction it goes, I'm super excited about it, to get this game expanded upon and seeing them driving more towards it, because yeah, this game could be a ton more fun if they put even more attention to it. So NFL Pro Era definitely deserves a spot here. The next one to talk about is Assassin's Creed Nexus, which we didn't get any new information on except for the fact that it was talked about, and that is going to be announced and shown off at the Ubisoft Connect later this year in June. And I'm really excited that we finally get to see that on June 12th. So tune into the Ubisoft Connect to get more information on Assassin's Creed. This next one here was the biggest surprise of the show for me, and that is Bulletstorm. I don't know how many of you guys remember Bulletstorm, but I remember it being the first game that I got with my 3D Vision monitor from NVIDIA, and it's the game that sold me on 3D back in the day, and I loved it, and I still play the game in 3D with all the 3D things that I've done on this channel that you guys know about. But the fact that we're getting the game fully recreated for VR again was completely caught me off guard, and I'm super excited about it because the game is so much fun. The way that you actually move around and you kill all the enemies and stuff like that with the crazy moves that you do and all that stuff really lends itself to being a great action-packed VR game. It's obviously like a 6-hour game and stuff like that, but they have like time trials that you can do that make it endlessly replayable and stuff. So this is going to be a fantastic game in VR, and I can't wait to see what this game looks like. And it completely caught me off guard that this is a game that they would bring back in VR. But man, am I excited about it as somebody who loves the game. Bulletstorm. And the last one we're going to be talking about, and I kind of left the best for last, is Asgard's Wrath 2. Now, I know a lot of people are already out there talking about the fact that they're excited that we're getting a sequel to this game, and that it's touted as being 60 hours plus long, and everything that they talked about sounds really exciting, of all the different things you're going to be doing in here, like the mini games that are going to be in here that you can play, the story, the side missions, all the gods that you can explore, all the different realms that are going to be in here, different environments and everything, and the big bad people you're going to be able to, the gods you're going to be able to take down. It all sounds fantastic, but people are obviously disappointed that it's not coming to PC, because that's where the original one came from. And listen, I'm disappointed in that too, because I played the original one on PC, but we all know for a long time now, so I don't know why people keep getting disappointed, that Meta is all about their Quest. They're not going to waste their time bringing a studio that they hired to make this game to bring it in PC, because they're not going to make any money off of it. So that's why they're bringing it on the Quest, and I think the game looks fantastic on the Quest 2. That's what the gameplay footage that you're seeing here is from, and that's what they said. And I'm excited that they already said that it's going to look much better even on the Quest 3 when that comes out, but we haven't seen any footage of what that's going to look like or how it's going to feel in the headset. So I'm still excited to see how good it's going to look and what it's going to entail on there. Obviously, it's not going to look as good as a PC version would have looked, but regardless, if it looks really good and it's a ton of fun to play and it gets me 60 plus hours of gameplay in a really good game like this, we finally have a giant open RPG action game that we can actually play in VR. It's a full AAA game that they've been working on, and I know it costs $59.99, but that's the price you're going to want to pay if you want a 60 plus hour adventure that's been worked on for 4 years. It's the same price we pay for other AAA games. And if you do want to play the original and you pre-order this sequel now, you can actually get the PC VR version of the Asgard's Wrath original game on the PC if you have a powerful PC to run it, so you can actually experience it, even though they do say you don't need to play the first one to enjoy the sequel. But if you can, I would definitely play the first one. It's a ton of fun. So guys, that was the showcase here. Like I said, overall, I'm really happy with a lot of the games. They got me excited. Most of these games are stuff that I'm definitely excited about. I'm going to be playing. Obviously, I'm disappointed that GTA still didn't make a showcase here, but maybe that's what they're waiting to kind of show off with their new Quest 3 and kind of push that and kind of show what the Quest 3 can do with that in September when that releases, which I think would make perfect sense. But either way, what's here is really exciting. I'm excited about the Quest 3 releasing and a lot of stuff that's coming here soon from you know, Facebook and the Meta Quest, and I hope you guys are too. Let me know all your thoughts down below, what you guys thought about these games, and if you guys are excited about some of them just like I am. And if you guys have any other questions, as always, leave it down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Till next time.